You can tell me you ain't got no love for me. You can tell me you don't know I love you. You can tell me you ain't got no love. I don't write until I feel the complications. Promise you, it's okay. So how about they took my stuff down for like, I don't know, 10 minutes. I guess they wanted me to get situated. Once it starts raining, it's a wrap. But it's not raining no more. I mean, well, excuse me. Um, it's raining, but I'm not driving anymore. And so I decided to stop driving because I guess there's going to be a tropical storm. And yeah, so it's okay because let's just chill for a little bit. Because once you get to riding in these streets out here, you know, things can go here or there because of flooding, like, small flooding or whatever, 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 whatever. But hey, Alafia, Abora Bayoya Boshishe. It is I, Fakolade, Umilade Fatosine, if you're unfamiliar with who I am. And this is Sacred Waters Healing Temple if you're new to the channel. This is streaming from TikTok. I like doing it from TikTok so I can go ahead and grab, get the videos from here, the clips that I want from here, and then go over there. But if you're new here, this channel is about ancestral mysticism, ancestral medicine, and ancestral veneration. And just understanding, the cosmic and understanding ourselves for the most part. Everything that we do is about the cosmologies of ourselves. And today, I wanted to talk about mysticism. I want to talk about magic practices. I want to talk about manifesting. And I'm not gonna hold nobody, not gonna be here too long because I plan to go to the store today, and I was planning to do some shopping, do a little retail shopping, and then I wanted to get back home to my stories. I've been watching American Gods. Y'all know that's like an old show, whatever, but I love that show. I love that show. Okay, like the show to me. My interpretation, right, as a viewer of my own, is about Shadow Moon and Shadow Moon's sense of self for the most part. Like him having no guidance, no real sense of self, and questioning his reality, questioning the occurrences of his life. And Shadow Moon, of course, he, was raised by his mother. She took care of him on her own. And then she had relocated from one place, and I think they moved to like somewhere upstate New York, somewhere, maybe East Coast, something like that. And he was new. So he's like this new light-skinned individual. And he was facing, different social issues, of being an only child, being by himself, right? And then at home, he had the hardship of basically wondering where his father was and believing that the reason why things were going the way that things were going was because the absentee of his dad, and and maybe whatever discrepancies that he had with his mom and the upbringing that he had with her. But he loved his mama dearly. However, when a point came in life where his mom had passed away, he had to fend for himself with little guidance. He didn't have much guidance. So her basically trying to raise him the best that she could, once he got out into the world and had to apply himself, then what he gravitated towards was the hard knock life. So he started robbing and stealing. And upon that point in his life, he found Laura, and she worked at a casino where he was planning to stage a heist and rob it. And he thought that he was going to be able to do it with the ease on his own. Anyway, they met each other. she ran everything down to him. Was like, don't even try it. I know what you're trying to do. Don't even try it. Everybody's looking, even if you're not, even if you don't think that nobody's watching you, everybody's watching you. Even if the old lady is watching you, the old lady to the left of you is doing this and doing that, they're all watching you. Anyhow, so she just letting them know, like, you need to know, scope the scene and know exactly what you got going on, like what's around you, and know who you fucking with, okay? Like, she's like, it's not gonna work, okay? Whatever ideas that you think that you have is not gonna work. You're gonna go to prison. So he decided, okay, she just called me out like this, and he found that to be very, very attractive, and decided, I want to get to know her. I want to get to know her on a deeper level. Ain't nobody never did this like that smooth, be able to call me out on my stuff like this. Okay, so he was attracted to her. They had one night, hit it off well, and ever since then they were inseparable. And he was in love with her. And so, I guess now just like staying with her and getting to know her, falling in love with her, living with her, this and that. He thought that things was going off smooth. He had engaged to her, proposed to her, and then he was hit with some unsudden, emotions from her, basically saying how he was no longer giving her satisfaction, right? No longer satisfying her needs. And she was like, it's not you, it's simply me. Like, the issue is me. I am having a crisis in my life, and I'm not happy right now. And there's nothing that you can do to make me happy right now. And that hurt his feelings. That, did something to him. And she was like, if we're going to be together, I just feel like I should offer more. And so she had made this gesture of helping him. That's where she felt it would bring her comfort or whatnot. She already was borderline, out of it, in other words, like she didn't even want to belong on earth anymore. She was tired of living, to say the least. She was doing stuff trying to like take her life, and and it wasn't working out as easy as she thought. So she was like, the only thing that will bring her fulfillment is to assist him in getting where he needed to, or whatever it was that he wanted from the beginning. And so they both had decided they were going to go ahead and go through with the heist, go to her job, and hit him up. So this plan led to Shadow Moon being incarcerated, spending time in jail. She was trying to hold him down for as long as she could, and it didn't happen. It didn't work. And now I'm going off on a deep end about the story because, hell, this is the best way I can explain it. So So she tried to hold him down for as long as she could, and she got bored of that, grew tired of it, and next thing you know, she started sleeping with the neighbor, best friend type of person, and their one night stands, sneaky links or whatever, ended in her demise. They both died. They both got into a car accident and died. Right. And this was pretty much where everything took a pivot in the whole situation, because he had to spend years in prison wondering, what she was doing and this and that, only to find out that his wife is now gone, and this is the way that she got taken out, with in her mouth, and and is his homies at that. So very sad news. Anyway, he gets released, and now he's back to square one. He doesn't feel like he has any sense of direction, and right off the bat, he is met with Odin. And Odin is, taking him under his wings, giving him the impression that he is like a guardian of his, and he has his best interests, and this is where it becomes interesting. So all of the rest of the events from that point on just is so fascinating to me, because you're like, in my mind, I'm like, well, why does he feel the need to follow Odin around if all of this stuff is like tragic, or all of it is so hard for him, you know? But I resonated with it a lot, because when it all comes down to it, at the bottom line, it is about one's belief or lack of belief in self, or lack of worthiness or whatnot. It's like he had no, strong guidance or father figure. So in this vulnerable moment of his, he is taking on this impression from Odin, that Odin has a path for him, or Odin is going to offer him something that is greater than himself, and help him get to wherever it is that he needs to get in life. And so this show is really interesting to me, because it's just like most people who come into different systems of, whether it's, understanding the self or understanding spirituality, and taking up on the journey of spirituality, and just wanting to know, like, how to start that journey of spirituality. And so most people are oftentimes, when they get to the point where they want to take on a new journey, embark on a new journey of self, journey of spirituality. Since we over here on Sacred Waters Healing Temple, I'm going to talk about spirituality for this sense. It all aligns with the self anyways. So when they say, like, what can I do so that I can enhance my spirituality? What can I do so I can figure out, my path? What is my destiny? What is my purpose in life? And how do I strengthen it? Or how do I strengthen, parts of myself? How do I figure out, what my destiny is? So they take on that journey and they find them a mentor, or a mentor finds them somebody who is like pouring into them, somebody who's pouring into them, and or giving them illusion of being poured into, and then guiding them along on a path that's supposed to get them to that destiny, that point in life, right? And they're pouring in them, they're talking to them, they're giving them, the game, and just able to identify things like, things about them that they, I guess, never probably paid any attention to, never really gave much thought to, and it gives them a sense of assurance, a sense of identity, a sense of self, a sense of purpose in the world. And especially whenever they are pretty much calling out things that are happening, and it is like direct, absolute, like, dang, how did you know about that? Like in the show, Shadow Moon was having these flashes, these thoughts of hanging from a tree. And in a storming moment or whatnot, he was like, what the hell? And Odin was calling it out, like, I know, you have fears. I know this and that. I know that you worry about things. I know you feel bad about things, like calling out all of this stuff. And so it was giving him like some assurance, like somebody finally understands him. Somebody gets what he's going through. Right. So it seems like it's really, really easy to find someone to do that, or to trust or believe in somebody in that moment. Hopefully I'm like you still understanding what I'm saying. And so I think that when a person does come to the point of asking, like, what do I need to do? And if somebody came to me right now to ask me that question, because right now I'm like on a point where I'm in a place in my life as an Ianifa, as a practitioner, as a spiritualist of my own, in my own light, where it is a need for me to unsubscribe to certain things. Because this is just where I am in my life. This is how far it has come for me. This is what I need. Not to say that it is where you are, but just where I am, right? To take a step back from things, because I have had enough experiences, just to say the least. But if somebody was to come to me and ask me the question, like, where do they start, or how do they get started in it? I would tell them to start with what it is that resonates with them the most. Like if I give myself some time to decide, I'm ready to, jump back in, or I'm ready to begin something new, I'm going to start with the first thing that resonates with me. And I feel like if I was Shadow Moon, right? If I was Shadow Moon and I was unsure about things, I would have just I would have just been like, I would have given myself some time to ask the necessary questions that I need. So, or the necessary questions of what it was I was reflecting on in that moment of time, and then just trust that the next thing that happens would be, you know, for the betterment of me from that point. And then if it was Odin, if it was someone like Odin, I would question him too. I would question him too. But we don't really think about that until we've had enough, right? Had enough of experiences with external people or people outside of ourselves. But because of the way that most of us are socially constructed to believe that in order to be doing things the right way, we must do it the way others are doing it, or we have to be under the wings of somebody else, or we have to follow somebody else. And I think that that is again a social construct, and I would say part of the truth and not the whole truth. For some people it may be okay, it might be cool, to go find people that you relate to, but that's not a definite way of doing things. That is not the definite way to do a thing. You know what I'm saying? And I am in a place where I believe that there should be new systems if one is not already in a new system. Like, I feel like I'm in a new system, a new world. And it's up to me to really define what that is, what that world consists of. I am in control of that. So for somebody else, they may be comfortable with relating to other people. And so that relatability allows them a sense of purpose. It allows them a sense of feeling safe or accepted by individuals. So they're willing to go the deep end with other individuals. But because of where I am, and as far as I have come, I really don't feel the necessity for me to attach myself to individuals anymore for me to get what it is that I need. So um like I said, if somebody was to tell me, I would definitely ask myself, what is it that I'm seeking? And then I would question things. Ask myself what it is that I'm seeking, and then what is it that I have a problem with? Like, what's going on in my reality that is giving me discomfort or whatnot? And then what would I absolutely want the outcome to be? What type of experience would I rather have? You feel me? So in the next thing is, I would question what it looks like, what that experience looks like. And the reason being is because I feel like we all are shown throughout these social media platforms, and any media for that matter. Hell, it don't even have to be media. If a person is just somewhere out in a rural area, or all they see, or they're just surrounded by something that's always in their face, you know what I'm saying, about what spirituality looks like, what womanhood looks like, what being a mother looks like, what does being a man looks like, what does beauty, style, kindness, generosity, health, things like that. Like, what does that all look like? And so everybody's going to have a different outlook about all of those things, but we are led to believe that it looks one way just based off of the popularity that's surrounding it, the views, the numbers. That's stylish, that's kindness, that is a real woman, that's a real man. This is true spirituality. That's not how a person is supposed to be, because over here, this is what has been shown to me, or over there, or on this side, or this is what she's talking about, and everything she says makes sense, or he says makes sense, so they're doing it the right way. So then you take on to whatever that is to say, like, oh, well, if it's not done this way, then I don't want to do it, so I'm only going to follow them. Well, just because those people have mass following or mass views and visibility does not mean that it's absolutely right. You feel me? Like, even in the sense of those who are in quote unquote places of power or positions of power and leadership, right? If their followers have been with them for 20, 50, 70 years, and they're all doing the same thing and nothing new has changed in this world, in this timeline that we live in, where a lot of things around us is changing. Food is changing. The land, you know what I'm saying? The way that the land is being treated is being changed. They're having new medicines and technology. All of this type of stuff is changing. And you mean to tell me that in 20, 50, and 70 years, y'all don't change? These teachings don't change? You know, then I would question that. I would not want to subscribe to anything like that. I wouldn't want to have to be underneath somebody with the same thing for that long, because then it's just like saying like you're not even giving yourself any room to evolve. You're just following. You're just doing as you are told and following and worshiping. That's worshiping. And so then back to like I was talking about with the show, American Gods, the whole run deal with the show is just about how Odin is realizing that there is a new world coming, and that new world is going to relinquish his whole existence. Like, people are not going to believe in him or any of the other gods. And so in order for him to stay viable, or for him to stay of essence, you know what I'm saying, a god, then there must be there must be the system has to stay the same. So he needed someone who was vulnerable, in a vulnerable position, who was low, who had a loss, who didn't have any family or anything. He needed somebody who was weak or docile or incompetent, afraid, in fear or whatnot. He needed that source from a person in order for him to stay alive. You know what I'm saying? And Shadow Moon was perfect for that. He's operating in a world where he's feeling like he's at a disadvantage and has nobody. He's operating in a world where he's upset and angry because his father wasn't around. And then he's questioning himself and his manhood. And so, and whether or not he can provide, even if he's enough, he's questioning the things that he sees, and he thinks he's crazy, angry, you know what I'm saying? Not seeing things clearly. And so he's like the perfect person for Odin to manipulate and to play on because of this. So Odin takes him and takes him under his wing, broken boy, basically, or a boy that is still a quote unquote grown adult male that's still stuck in his childlike, personalities, behaviors, this and that. And then betrayal is another thing, because his wife was found deceased after an accident with his in the same car with his friend, and giving him fellatio, giving him some sloppy toppy, whatever. So all of this is on his mind as he is being released from prison, and Odin is the person that's taking him under his wing at this time and giving him a sense of guidance and an assurance. So as he's going on this journey with Odin is surprising him with all of these different events of life that's got him saying like, did I really just see, did you really just do this? How did we get here? Are you talking? Is there unicorns happening right here? Did we just shift? Is this TV talking to me? Yeah, because there was points in the show where Shadow Moon was just like, he'll be by himself. And the moment that he's by himself, all of a suddenly technology pops up. Being that Shadow Moon had been incarcerated, he's incarcerated for years. Time is passing by, and we're now in a different time period, different speed of things. And he's not up to speed with the stuff that's going on. Technology is advanced, and because he's been incarcerated, he ain't even in the loop of any of this stuff. So anyhow, technology is showing up, and here comes this young individual and or this holograph of a woman, a beautiful woman that appears on TV and just starts talking directly at him. So he started looking around, and he's looking around like, what the hell is being said? Is anybody else seeing this happening to me right now? And Odin is nowhere near in sight. And if he says, these things to Odin, like what's happening, he's afraid like Odin gonna look at him crazy. But that's like him battling between, the old world and the new world, or his shadow self, his moon self, and then his beliefs. Now, even whenever I'm just thinking about that, I think about how easy it is for us to project our fears and stuff out into the world and limit ourselves, as well as how easy it is for us to have such a strong belief in something that we would go off to the deep end and never really question the validity of it, just going along with it, right? So all of this, going back to the topic of things that I'm talking about today, which is about it's about magic, right? Magic and magical practices, manifesting, like projecting things, projecting what we believe in, right? And all of a sudden, we start wanting to question, like, how can we improve the things that improve things that's happening in our life by means of magic, mysticism, or whatnot. You got to be willing to question stuff. You really do have to be willing to question things. The more that you decide that you're going to, the deeper and more precise that you get in questioning things without fear of judgment or fear of abandonment or whatever fears that you have, the better off you will be, right? Because in the end, the worst thing that can happen is that you, A, no longer believe in thing, or B, you believe in yourself. That's the best thing that can happen to you. But also, like, if it, what's at the end of the tunnel or whatever. Well, that's at the end of the tunnel. You find a true sense of self. And that's why I said, like, there's a time where I feel like I have to unsubscribe to some things, because, you feel me, I see where some stuff are, where things are like shifting in my reality. And when it comes down to these algorithms, the algorithm is the universe. What we see out in the real world is no different. Everywhere we go, it's going to be the same outcome. Same outcome, even here, right now, where I'm sitting. If you're listening to this, somewhere along your reality, you asked a question and a video popped up, and the video is talking about some things that you was curious about. You may have found Sacred Waters Healing Temple in a moment where you said, okay, enough is enough. Enough is enough. What do I need in this lifetime? I'm tired of this experience. What do I need in this lifetime? And then here come a video. Here come this woman of African American descent appearing on a timeline, and she's beautiful. She is well spoken. She's a little weird, a little quirky, a little giggity, little this, little that, and I resonate with her. So let me hear what she's talking about, and it resonates with you. Yes. So your algorithm is your reality. Your algorithm is your universe. Even as you sit and you're scrolling and scrolling and you're liking and joining different things, you're building your universe. The only difference is on this black mirror that's looking at you, but you cannot see within it. And so everybody is watching you. but you cannot see those people on the other side unless you decide to subscribe to them and see whatever it is that they're talking about. But then you'll have to decide that you want to subscribe. And whatever that is, you have to believe in it in order for it to actually apply to your life or resonate with you. And believe in it for how long? How long do you want to stay there? You feel me? So that's just some of the things that I've been thinking about and that had came to me while I was talking. Now, I don't feel like I really answered the question as far as like where to get started or how to get started when it comes down to spirituality. If you have questions about your spirituality and a journey that you want to go, whatever you're interested in, you should go there. You should go pursue it. Just like if you were to say, like, how can I do a thing? You go to Google, you research it, and then you study it and you apply it. If you want to go to school, same thing. Anything that you're interested in, recipe, hairstyle, makeup, electronics, communication, writing, whatever it is, you're going to go do some research on it. So the same thing would apply to you if you are wanting to learn about spirituality. So if you want to deepen your spirituality and your magic or whatnot, and you have to understand yourself. Everything about philosophy, everything about magic is understanding yourself. You're always going to go back to yourself. If you don't have a sense of self, then you're going to be in a state where anything that comes along your algorithm is going to appear as truthful, right? It's going to appear as truthful. Now, it's like I said, it goes back to what are you subscribed to, and the importance of deconstructing social constructs. And I think that everybody has this idea or illusion that if I sat right here right now and started saying a bunch of things in a different language, I'm going to be very, very aesthetically pleasing. If I started speaking in some tongues or something, so it's going to make you stop and be like, what is that person saying? If I started screaming really loud and crying with snot coming from my nose or something like that, it's going to make you be like, oh, she's really having a spiritual revelation right now. She's really, really going through something right now. She's a spiritual person. She's an emotional person. And if it resonates with you, then you're going to sit there and you want to just subscribe to me. Or if you're a person that believes that someone being, really tough, really mean, really right and really a matter of fact type of person, if you believe in that as, viable, spiritual, then you're going to stop and you're going to say, I believe in this person and this person has all of the right answers or whatever. That's like what I said earlier. When it comes down to our illusions or spiritual constructs or social constructs of spirituality, people think that if she don't have on this, then she's not spiritual. If she ain't got her hair done, then she's not spiritual. If she's not nappy head, if she got weave on, she's not spiritual. If he got on a do-rag and he doing this and doing that, he's not spiritual. If he's eating meat, he's not spiritual. But have you ever really thought about it? The most spell work that has ever been done on a person is religion and spiritual warfare that came from colonizers. And it happened to so many types of people, so many different ethnic groups of people, all the way down to us here in the diaspora. Even in the last 60 years, right, there has been occult magic and witchcraft applied to people, even though it doesn't look exactly like it did at another point in time. It still is modern day witchcraft and occultism, and it happens every day. Even on this little black mirror that we're into, it happens every day. People can literally just go and be like, don't subscribe to this person because they don't know what we're talking about. And so everybody just avoids that person. Canceling people out, spiritual witchcraft, doxing people, right? Or following people and trying to manipulate the things that they say. It's another form of witchcraft, and it happens all the time. Dark matter, light matter, it happens all the time. So just because it doesn't look like the way that we are taught to perceive, just because a person doesn't look like the way that we are taught to perceive what spirituality looks like, does not mean that it is not sacred, it is not spiritual. I, for one, am deconstructing that whole idea within myself. I don't want to look anything like y'all. I don't want to even focus on nothing that y'all talking about. Because at the end of the day, if I did, it would mean that I believe in y'all, and I don't believe in y'all. I believe in myself. I believe in my world. When I decide that I want to power this phone off, I have a world that I live in, a real world that I live in, that I prefer to have power over, have authority over. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want for some male or female from social media, their ideologies and social constructs and shit to impact or affect the way that I perceive the world and my experiences so much that I am not even a part of that experience, that I have it. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck y'all. Like, in that sense, like, I would not want to be anything near what y'all got going on. I don't want any parts of that. And I don't want to subscribe to anybody that's not subscribed to me. I don't want to subscribe to anybody that is not feeding or providing for me or adding or enhancing me in any kind of way. Yes, like straight like that, like for real, for real. That's where I am, and that is how I am building my algorithm. So if it doesn't apply to me in my life, in my well-being, my livelihood, then I don't want any parts of it. I don't want to look like it. You know what I'm saying? Another thing that I have to say about beginning the journey of spirituality is knowing exactly what type of experience that you want that to be. I think that people have this false idea, or I'm gonna say it's false to me, but everybody has normalized that it all has to look like, or something. That's another reason why I don't heavily promote Ifa Shay so much anymore, because to me it's another form of religious indoctrination. And to my understanding, Ifa is the ways and principles of our ancestors, right? And the Isheshe is pretty much the ways of our ancestors, like how they did things. So because I have met and lived with those who are my ancestors, I know what that looks like. It is not what social media had told me. It's not what social media is putting on there. So I don't subscribe to you all's Ifa Sheshe. I don't subscribe to you all's sense of voodoo, hoodoo, or any of that, because it's not mine. I've spent enough years. My mom introduced spirituality to me since when I was 8 years old. She was very, very encouraging to me. The women of my family are hoodoo and Baptist followers and practitioners. So we already have our own Isheshe, our own hoodoo, our own voodoo, and our own spirituality. So I don't need to subscribe to anybody's online internet spirituality. I don't need to do that. And my mother and father were both powerful individuals, despite whatever experiences that they had in their lived personal lives or whatever. But they already had their own Ashe. They already had their own Isheshe. My grandmother, great grandmother, all of them already had their own. My grandfather had his own forms of prayer, his own forms of writing, his own forms of getting shit done, his own form of belt to ass, spiritual work, his own forms of cussing somebody out and cutting shit out of his life. So I have enough Isheshe in my life that I don't need to go subscribe to anybody else's. And I think that people lack a sense of self in their world, and that they need to go and follow other people, watch other people, and try to extract from other people and then mimic them. And they need to conjure up stories that they know fucking well that they didn't live. So they need to create something that's not theirs. You feel me? So I don't need to do that. I don't need that from anybody else. And since I don't need it, then I know that it could be I know it can be very challenging for one, in the ways that they perceive me, because I live a very polarized lifestyle. I can say that in my lifestyle, it is very polarized. People do not know where to place me, and they don't know how they can try to control me and put me in boxes and all of this type of stuff, because I don't need anything like that from them anymore. I think that another thing that on this new wave of things with technology is that individuals thrive on the idea of controlling individuals, and if they can't control you, then they don't have then they fear what you'll do. They'll fear what you're capable of doing. And they already probably know what your potential is, but they don't want you to know, because if you find out what that is going to be, then now you become a threat to them in their reality, and or they become cognitive dissonance, because whatever they believed in, it does not fucking exist, and it challenges everything about them, and that they become wrong. They become wrong. So you have to have a sense of self, so you can fuck people up who come at you about that. Because if you don't have a sense of self, then people will be playing on your top. People will try to manipulate you and try to gaslight you and your experiences, try to drag you along into some bullshit that they got going on that's outdated, that doesn't allow any room for evolvement, doesn't allow you to tap into your own potential at all. And so even when it comes down to people who ask me like, well, what kind of books can I start reading? Book with me, and I'll tell you. If you book with me, I'm going to tell you. And it's over here, Sacred Waters Healing Temple. If you're looking for a way to gain some spirituality, here's the book. Book with me directly, and I'm going to tell you all the books that you need in your spiritual journey. And those who know me, those who have met me over the last 18 years, know that I'm very, very capable of doing it. Just like this here black mirror that we have in front of us, I am a black mirror too. I'm a black mirror, and I'm really, really, really good at helping individuals build up their algorithm. I really am good at it. Yeah, I'm really good at it. No, I will not tell you any books to go and I don't have any books for you. I don't have any books for you. The best book that I have for you is Booking with Me, Sacred Waters Healing Temple. The link in my description. And I will show you some of the best books that I have. Some of the best books that have led me to where I am now, to really understand sense of self. Another thing that gets me is those who do embark on this journey of spirituality, and how easy they are to quit. How easy that they are to quit. Like, it's easy to look at everybody else and subscribe to the aesthetic and the illusion of what everything outside of yourself is, and how well rounded and well curated that everything else appears, and believe that this person has it figured out. This person can teach me. This person, you know what I'm saying? It has to look like this person. So then you just go following this person for 10 years until they disappoint you, and now you're at a loss, and you're like, well, I'm angry, and they wasted my time and wasted my money, and I couldn't have done this and doing that. I think the best spirituality, spiritual elevation, spiritual awakening is the moment that you get pissed off. If you haven't got pissed off yet, if you're not mad enough, you know what I'm saying, then you're not really having a real spiritual awakening. You're just subscribing and regurgitating the things that people are saying to you. A lot of people know spirituality, but a lot of people are not critical thinkers. A lot of people know spirituality, but they are not critical thinkers. Like, people can literally tell you something, and instead of thinking critically, you A, internalize it and feel attacked, or B, you you're entertained. And being entertained is not enough for the average person to really alter their lives in a way for absolute progression, because it keeps them dormant and stagnant and comfortable where they are, especially if they relate, especially if you can relate. Like, most people want to relate, they never want to be challenged. Nobody who is eating off of spirituality and in need of clientele is ever going to say things to you that's going to make you challenge your worldview or challenge yourself in a negative way, because they need you to stick around. And when they know that you are not a person who is a follower, it's easy to dispose of you and get your ass on. Get the hell up out of here. Because you gonna fuck up their whole foundation. Fuck up their whole foundation. So I don't easily subscribe to people, because the ones who have big followings, have a bunch of yes men in their corners, a bunch of masking individuals in their corners that are almost sociopathic, to be for real. Being for real. Like, if you really sit back and think about it, I'm not even gonna go deep off into that part. But no, I don't got no books for your ass to read, and I don't know no great teachers. Okay? I don't know none. I know me, and I know that I'm a great black mirror. And so if you seek for the things that I have to give you, I got great books for you, and I got great teachers for you. Yep. Everything that you're going to find is all a reflection of what's in yourself. If you don't know what to do with it, if you don't know what it is yet, then you're going to have a long life. And it's okay. It's okay, you know what I'm saying, to spend time getting to know yourself. But if you hopping from this person to that person, or if you're even stagnant with something that's not challenging you, then you're not really truly having a spiritual awakening. So critical thinking is absolutely necessary in spirituality, so that you don't end up being like Shadow Moon and Odin, being like Shadow Moon following Odin around, and Odin is trying to live vicariously through someone that's young, and hoping that he will still believe in him without asking any questions. Or you're going to be ready for some new downloads, and so you're going to lean more to the new world, and start thinking for yourself, and curate your own reality. You have to be creative. The greatest people who had their way in this motherfucking world was people like Michael Jackson, people like Prince, you know what I'm saying? Like, people who created this illusion, this world or whatever, and was able to manifest, truly manifest. And those people, yeah, it looked on the outside like, damn, you know what I'm saying? But they were setting the stage for a lot of people that we have today, because they stepped outside of social constructs and did shit their way. So it's about what you want in the end, and what are you afraid to lose? Well, what do you think you're afraid to lose, or what do you think you're actually losing? You have to decide what it is that you're going to believe in. Yeah, decide what it is that you want to believe in. Decide if belief is actually going to get you where it is that you want to go in life. Question the things that you believe in. Does it make absolute sense? Do you know critical thinking? Do you know how to critically think about stuff? you know. And then um, another thing that I want to also talk about, and I'm going to end with this because I got somewhere to go, is understand not understand what is needed, like the what's needed. I think that a missing component in most of people's spiritual practices whenever they start out is hmm they need, I think I would have to say clarity. I would have to say clarity and purification. Clarity and purification. Most of the great ones, with all any great teaching books that you even pick up, they always talk about how their journey of occultism or spirituality and mysticism involved in fasting, praying, things like that. Well, we live in an advanced world where information is available to most of us, and so you really don't have to sit down and fast. You really don't have to go on this major detox. And even the idea of needing a detox is something to be questioned, because some real slob ass individuals in this world that we live in are making shit happen, right? Making shit happen and holding on to their tools and ways of oppression that's fucking up a lot of people. And I think that that's still witchcraft and magic, even though it doesn't look like hocus pocus, even though it doesn't look like that, it's still another form of mysticism, occultism, magic, all of that type of stuff, spiritual practices. Yes, indeed. Yes. And they are slob ass individuals. So question that part. But clarity and purity is a form of it. Also embodiment. So clarity, purification, have a sense of self, and and embodiment, right? These things are really, to me, I would say, essential things that one needs when they are cultivating their magical practices. You know, I can always look back on as a kid growing up, and my mom and my grandma and my aunties raising me, and how my auntie always used to tell me that our day isn't started if our bed isn't prepared. And that if our bed isn't prepared when we're on our way somewhere, that means that we are running behind. So having that planted in my mind at a very young age has still sat with me today. That if I leave my house and I haven't gotten that together, I'm running behind, or my day is not going to be set the way that I need it to be set to really have the best experience or whatnot. So I try to keep things tidied up in my home, cleanse, and my children are there to help me to do the same thing. Another thing, as far as clarity, writing my thoughts out. Being a writer, my writing started because of having a father that was incarcerated. So from the young age of like 6, 7, whatever, I would receive letters, and he drew. So I would trace his drawings and I would write letters back to him. And whenever we get on the phone, he'll ask me things, and I can just remember the conversations that we had and the importance of sharing those stories. So to me, clarity in talking and communicating is something that's really, really important. So when it comes down to it, granted, given that my dad was an artist, having that sense of creativity was another strong point of my spirituality. And again, everybody likes to make it seem like, oh, spirituality is supposed to look like this. You're a good kid going to get A's and B's, and you excelled in sports. Da 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 da. No. You know what I'm saying? I have my own experience of what that looks like, and I can draw back on some real shit. And a lot of people who are lacking in their sense of self that I have met, or lacking in good character or whatever that I have met, had all of these grand childhood experiences. They really ain't even have to go through much or nothing and get nothing out the mud. And so they look into me and looking down upon me because of my experience, because I didn't have this, or this person wasn't there, all this type of shit. But they had mom and dad, go to college, went to school, had sports, did all this type of shit. But they're looking at me and seeing that I have gone here and gone there and had these experiences that were better than theirs, and they're using my experiences for the goddamn thesis and essays and dissertation papers, because they ain't never have no real true experiences. They didn't really have to get shit out the mud. They didn't really have anything to inspire them. They didn't have no true inspiration. They're taking from other people who really did have to feel. So anyways, anywho, I'm not gonna go off in a deep end about that. Get yourself some clarity, have a true sense of self, and really know what it means to embody who you truly are. If you want to take up on a spiritual path, be willing to do some work, do some research, be willing to be a student to the thing that you're curious about, right? Be willing to be a student. And it's not a bad thing if you do subscribe to somebody who is resonated, but make sure that you have a clear sense of self before you subscribe to a motherfucker and they out here telling you to do X, Y, and Z. Okay, that's my real advice to give to a person who's setting out on a spiritual journey, seeking for real solid magic practices and manifesting on some shit. Like, right, you have to have sense of self, have some clarity, ask the right questions, and truly embody the shit that you say that you about. Truly embody it. Stop trying to go around taking from other people and copying what people are doing out here in this world. And I'll say go from there. But that's my take on things. I'm about to wrap it up and get up here. I might pick up on another conversation. If you find this video informative to you, please like, comment, and subscribe. Share. Give me some feedback of what you think. And if you're interested in any of the classes that I have, check the link in the description. If you're interested in joining Wife of Rumila, learning about herbs, learning about ancestral veneration, setting up shrines, if you're interested in knowing about really tapping in with your own blood lineage, I do offer some guidance and also services upon that if you're interested in that. And you know where to find me if you have any questions. If I can be of help, I sure will be. Until next time.